Hi Naomi, today I'd like to ask about what happens after death for us.
Yes, most people don't know and don't want to know or afraid to know, but death is the best moment for the soul to liberate. So in a way, we can say the soul is going back home. The soul will wake up in spirit, and which is the true form for the soul. Because I do quantum healing hypnosis, people go to past lives. So when I take that person to the last day of that life, and something that I was kind of surprised to know is I never heard people say, I'm so afraid that I'm going to die. I never heard that. So when you take them to the last moment, the person will say, I think I'm ready, I'm leaving. And I do ask them, I said, how you feel this moment? And they say, I'm ready to go, right? And then I would say, so I want you to go through this transition and let me know when you're outside of the body so you can see your body, let's say from above. And that moment, they're, no matter how, sometimes they don't have very good life, but they will be released when they're no longer in the physical body, and they will say, they don't say, but I will ask them, how do you feel about this life? And so the soul will tell me, I had a good life, I did not do too well, I could do better, things like that. But the consciousness continues, there's no gap.
So do you mean we don't really die as a soul?
Yeah, there's no such thing, no matter what. Let's say you want to end, or you want to no longer exist. That will not happen. You will continue, you change the form, but you will always have this consciousness as the soul, that you are aware. See, actually you're more aware when you don't have the physical body, because the physical life is like a dream. You wake up from this dream you just had. In the morning when we wake up, and you will say, oh, that was interesting, I had that dream, and now I understand it was a dream.
What about all my families and friends? Are they real? Are they they're also going, I can still see them after death?
In a way, yes, but you're in a different dimension. So you can see them, but when you really move down, you move further, there's a space is before you fully, in a way, you are no longer has any connections with this realm, that might take some time, and it's up to the soul. If the soul wants to be in that zone a little bit longer, you can do so. And usually they do that because they have some sort of concern about the people, the family members. Let's say my sister, her husband passed away, and I did channel him, and he's in that kind of space because he still wants to make sure that my sister is doing fine. But eventually they have to move on. It seems like there's a gate. So after that, of course, for every soul, it can be a different scenario. So after that, then you can no longer come back, or you cannot be that close to this realm. And of course, there's much more to talk about this, But there are a lot of people, let's say they had near-death experience, so they talk about that. And every single person will have a different experience. It depends on the consciousness level, on this person's experience, Or depends on what this person needs to experience.
So after death, I move on to experience another life?
That's a good question, It's not you right away that you might go to another life, or you say next life. A lot of times, the soul, they need to do some healing, or they need to learn certain things before they go to another physical life, because you don't want to, As after one exam, you go to another exam, right? You need to read, you need to review things. So usually it's not right away, right? But there's no time, or they perceive time in a very different fashion. So, right, I don't know how, right? You can say, oh, they will wait for a couple years or a few hundred years, right? It really depends on what the soul wants to learn next. And they do go back to their soul family, right? They can meet with their soul family members. They can meet with their spirit guides, right? Or their guardians, and sometimes their counsel or soul friends, right? There are a lot of things going on there. So, right, that is something. Let's say if the person does quantum healing hypnosis with me, or we have another way, is called a quantum hypno channeling, right? Use another person's body to channel the energy. Let's say it's someone that passed away, right? Someone departed, and so you can channel that soul and to find out more about that soul's situation, right? And we can talk about other things another time. And thank you.